Let's talk about assessment at work. When you hear that word, does your mind jump to a stressful, high stakes exam? Or does it sound more like a helpful conversation about your skills and your future? Well, today we're going to dive into how to make assessment a really powerful tool, one that builds a skilled, confident workforce by turning that dreaded test into a genuine journey of growth.
What is it really? What's the secret sauce that separates someone who's just good at their job from someone who is truly great? It's not just about what they know, right? It's about how they use that knowledge when things get real. And that's exactly where thoughtful, structured assessment comes into play. It's how we see and measure real capability in action.
So, what are we actually measuring? We're talking about this idea of occupational competence. And look, this isn't just about ticking off a skill, it's the whole package. It's the hands on ability, the deep understanding of why you're doing what you're doing, and, the professional attitude that ties it all together. It's the complete picture of what makes someone awesome at their job.
Okay, so a great assessment doesn't just happen by accident. It's carefully designed. Let's start at the beginning, which is planning. If you think of an assessor as a guide, well, what does every good guide need before they start a journey? A map, a clear blueprint for where they're going and how they're going to get there. Now, to get a real 360-degree view of someone's competence, you need more than one tool. An assessor has this whole toolkit of methods they can use. It's not about a single test. It's about mixing it up, watching someone in action, looking at the work they produce, having a professional chat, and even getting input from their colleagues. Let's see how a couple of these actually work in the real world.
Observation. This might be the most powerful tool in the whole kit. Because here, you're not just reading about a skill, you are seeing it happen live. In this example, the assessor isn't just checking if a task got done, they're seeing how it was done. Was it done with dignity, with safety, with empathy? That's the stuff that really matters, and you can only see it by watching. Sometimes, though, the proof is in the pudding, literally. Looking at the actual things someone produces, like a series of perfectly prepared dishes, gives you solid, tangible evidence of their skill. And when you get an expert, like the head chef, to verify it, well, that just adds a whole other layer of credibility to the assessment. It's rock-solid proof.
Okay, now this is where things get really smart. It's an approach called holistic assessment. In the real world, your job isn't a bunch of separate tasks, is it? Your skills all overlap. So by watching just one activity, like a team meeting, a sharp assessor can find evidence for communication, leadership, and health and safety all at the same time. It's way more efficient, and honestly, it's just a more realistic way to see how people work.
All right, so after gathering all this evidence from different sources, the guide's next big job is to make a call. This is the verdict. And this is a moment where fairness, consistency, and pure professional expertise are absolutely crucial. You see, any trustworthy assessment decision has to stand on these three pillars. First, it's got to be fair, which means everyone gets an equal opportunity to show what they can do. Second, it must be valid, meaning we're actually measuring the right skills for the job, not something random. And third, it has to be reliable, meaning another qualified assessor would look at the same evidence and come to the same conclusion. If you're missing even one of these, the whole thing falls apart.
This quote right here just nails it. An assessor's job isn't to have an opinion about a person. It's to interpret the evidence. That's it. The final decision has to be based on facts, on things you can see and measure against the standard. It's about being objective, not subjective.
So, how do you make sure that decisions are reliable and consistent between different assessors? Well, there's a process for that, and it's called standardization. Think of it as quality control for assessment. It's where assessors get together, look at the same evidence, and make sure they're all grading to the exact same standard. It ensures that a qualification earned in one city is worth the exact same as one earned in another. It's all about building trust in the system.
But hold on. The job isn't over once the decision is made. Not even close. The follow-through is just as important. This is all about giving great feedback, keeping meticulous records, and, of course, protecting the learner's privacy. Giving feedback is a real art form. It's not about just dropping a score on someone. It's about starting a conversation about their growth. This little three-step process is so powerful. You start by confirming what they did well, build that confidence. Then you clearly point out what the next steps are, where they can grow. And you always finish with encouragement. The goal is to leave the person feeling motivated and empowered, not defeated. And all of this relies on a foundation of trust. That's why confidentiality is completely non-negotiable. The rules here are strict and for a very good reason. We're talking locking up physical files, encrypting digital records, never chatting about a learner's performance in a public place. It's a promise that their data and their journey are kept safe and secure.
All right, for our final section, let's look at the bedrock of the profession. These are the ethical and legal foundations every great guide has to follow, the golden rules. Being a professional assessor isn't just about knowing your stuff. It comes with some serious legal duties. The Health and Safety Act means your #1 job is to keep everyone safe, no exceptions. The Equality Act says you have to provide equal opportunities for everyone. And the Data Protection Act just reinforces that critical promise of confidentiality we were just talking about. These aren't suggestions, they're the law. And here's a cool thought. It's not just the learners who are expected to grow. The guides are too. A truly great assessor is a lifelong learner. They're always looking at their own practice, asking for feedback, and doing what's called continuous professional development, or CPD, to make sure their own skills are always sharp and up to date. So, we've talked about planning, fair decisions, feedback, all the rules. When you boil it all down, when you put all these pieces together, what's the one ultimate goal that all of this is driving towards?
It's this. Simple as that. To build a workforce that isn't just skilled on paper, but is genuinely competent and truly confident in what they do. You see, good assessment doesn't just measure ability, it actively helps create it. And that's a win for the person, a win for their company, and a win for the whole economy.
So let's change how we think about this. Assessment is so much more than a verdict, more than a pass or a fail. When it's done right, it's this powerful, ongoing conversation about growth, about helping people become the absolute best they can be. So the only question left is, what conversation will you start?